The purpose of this video is to present one idea of wholesaling. Here is a disclaimer. I have never wholesaled in real estate. I have only heard about it. This video will be a quick presentation of my idea that may or may not have any basis in reality. This idea stemmed from when the text lien sales used to be performed in person. I have overheard a person say something similar to, "I shop for real estate in the obituaries." I wanted more information, but I did not know the people and was not going to butt in on other people's conversations. It may have been a good idea to get the information. Obviously, it would not have been a bad thing to ask. Either I would get the information or I would still be in the same situation and not having the knowledge. Let us start with what I was told what wholesaling is. Wholesaling is being a bridge between a buyer and seller. The wholesaler is providing a service to both of the parties. The wholesaler gets an understanding of what type of property the buyer is looking to purchase, price range, and the condition of the property. The wholesaler does research to find that type of property, will notify the buyer if the type of property was found, then get an agreement if the buyer will purchase the property. The wholesaler talks to the seller and negotiate a price that is acceptable, signs papers to purchase property from the seller, then sells said property to the buyer. The wholesaler provides the value to both the seller and buyer and must satisfy them both. With that said, I will be focusing on finding a potential seller only, because I do not know how the buyers are found. Thus, this talk will hit on some of the knowledge of the previous video about researching for text lien sales. In this illustration, we are going to look for death certificates from a few months ago. We are doing that because it takes time for recording and transferring of real property. Some of the transfer of real estate has to go through the court system, probate, in which may take some time depending on if there is any opposition on any of the details. Template will still be used since I started there from the other videos. So we're going to go to hillsclerk.com for the Hillsborough County Clerk. We will be able to look up records there. In the blue bar on the far right, records and reports. Hover over there. There will be a table of links and you would choose from the left-hand side, Court Records and Reports, which is under Court Records, Reports, and Data Files. Scroll down until the box with the header of Official Records is fully visible. The first link on the left-hand side is Online Search of Official Records. Click on that link. This page will allow us to search for the records we need. The left-hand sidebar titled Search Type has the different type of searches we can do. The default selection is name, and that will have what we need to search for a death certificate. In the middle panel, the third row with the label of document type, the drop-down will have death certificate. From the recording's begin date, select March 1st, 2021, and from the recording end date, select March 31st, 2021, and select the search button. For this illustration, we are going to scroll down to the initials of CL. We will use this person for researching. Now, search on that person's name. We want to reset the search criteria, and C is the last name and L is the first. We see a mortgage, and when opened, we see it is from the address of 800 South. We will look for that later. The top two results show us probate documents. They are not able to be viewed online. However, they can be related to a last will and testament. You will see under one of the rows has DECD, which possibly refers to the person being deceased, and the cross-party name is PR the third. Since the document is not viewable, there is no way for me to know what capacity the person is in, whether he or she was the executor or a beneficiary of the will. This part had no audio to it, and I am just adding an additional statement to the video. What is being shown is part of the research that I will state later on as off-screen research. Obviously, there is way more that was actually done that is not in this section of the video relating to PR. The full research is just a rinse and repeat of CL anyway. This section for PR shows he got the deed on 6/21 to the place about 1 month after probate. This site, the Hill Clerk site, is where you can find that PR had 2 other places in a refi. The Hill Tech site is the one where you can find that PR had a massive increase to the property tax. In 2015, the tax was $636. And in 2016, it was 9.5K, and it has been growing over the years. I'll leave you with about 20 seconds of silence. Let us look for the taxes on the place. We are going to hillstax.org. Hover over taxes and check the real estate tax-property owner link. Click the property search box. Click the property search button. Hit the link for property tax. First, we will try CL. The address matches up with the address on the mortgage. We see life estate associated with the person name. Looking up life estate on Investopedia tells us a life estate is property, usually a residence that an individual owns and may use for the duration of their lifetime. This person, called the life tenant, shares ownership of the property with another person or persons who will automatically receive the title of the property upon the death of the life tenant. That should mean a smooth transition of the transferring of the real estate. Click on a name and view more detailed information. The tax is fully paid off, so there is no issue with that aspect. Under owner, we see CL and PR along with a PB under and one other. Back to hillsclerk.com, hover over court services, and in the first column, click on the Circuit Civil link. Scroll down to How do I view the Circuit Civil Court file? Click on it, and then click on Hillsborough Online Viewing of Electronic Records. In the table with the blue title row, go to the last row and click the Court Record Search. In the last column on the right-hand side, click the Search by Individual or Business Name. Type in the first and last name of the deceased, and then limit the search to a start of whatever your choosing is. My search yield nothing but the probated documents. They could be the same document the clerk was unable to show. This portion of the video is another part that originally had no audio to it as well. What this part will eventually show is that there were no additional civil court records for PRW. Other documents from the clerk seem to indicate that we are interested in PRW. This part is about 2 minutes long. This goes to show that researching places can take hours to do, and most will not be the place that you are looking for. In addition to that, talking with the seller could take a long time, and most people are not even willing to talk with you. Researching and getting a sale are dependent on the market conditions. I have seen a video where this person took about a year to find and remotely wholesale a place. The person made slightly over 4K. A year's amount of work for 4K. Sometimes it's just best to quit while you are far behind. Since this portion of the video is just research and clicking through pages at this point, just speed up the video. This short research session has shown us that PR has multiple places, one house and two condos. Off-screen research has shown that in 2015, PR remortgaged his house for around $400K. His property tax had went up accordingly as well. The current research did not show anything that might be a reason for a person to want to sell. Since the person had remortgaged or refinanced, that could be a reason for him to want to quickly get some money. We would need to make a contact with the potential seller to see if the potential seller is willing to sell. Once again, never bring up what research was done on the person and property and financial information. We do not want to be seen as aggressive. In summary, we have looked for death certificates that were issued a few months prior. Search for the name of the deceased. Look to see if the person had any properties. Look to see if there were probated documents and the associated names on the documents. Looked up the current name associated with the property. Depending on what the wholesaler research yields, the wholesaler would have to try to find out if the current owner is willing to sell. The hope is to find a property that is not on the market, but the owner is willing to sell and at a good price.